Hi, my name is Jen. I'm an adult services librarian here at the South Huntington Public Library. I'm sitting at my desk at work. We're not open to the public yet, but we're getting ready to open for some curbside pickup in just a few weeks. So we're back and working in the building, getting ready for that. In the meantime, I have 3 books that I would love to recommend to you today. Okay, so each book that I have today is very different from each other. And the first one that I want to talk about is The Splendid and the Vile, a saga of Churchill family and defiance during the Blitz. This is by Eric Larson. You might recognize his name. He wrote Dead Wake, which was very popular several years ago. And he also wrote The Devil in the White City, which was also another popular nonfiction title a few years ago. He writes nonfiction like fiction. It reads like fiction. It's very, very accessible. And at the same time being seriously well researched. So The Splendid and the Vile is about Winston Churchill's first year as Prime Minister, which coincided with the Blitz on the UK during World War II by the German Air Force. And it deals with Winston Churchill's first year, how it affects his family, how the Blitz affects the English people, and also the way that Churchill is trying to cajole the United States into giving the UK more support financially, and ultimately we know that the United States was attacked by Japan at Pearl Harbor at the end of that 1941, and they did enter World War II. This was full of first-hand accounts of being close to Churchill. One by his daughter Mary. There were many diary entries cited in this book by Mary Churchill, and also by one of his private secretaries, John Colville, who worked closely with him. So it was a very personal account of Churchill's first year. And like I said, it reads almost like a story, so it was really great read, and I was able to read it pretty quickly because I got very interested in it, and I got this on the Libby app. It was one of the Lucky Day selections, which means that it was available for a 7-day loan. The next title is Jubilee Recipes from 2 Centuries of African American Cooking by Toni Tipton Martin. I found out about this book from an article in a recent Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Toni Tipton Martin is a culinary journalist and a culinary historian, and she researched African American recipes and cookbooks that dated back to the 1830s, and put them together, adapted recipes from them, and put those recipes together into this beautiful cookbook. I love to read cookbooks. I read them. I don't just look through the recipes and pick recipes to try, although I do that also. But I just love cookbooks that are full of history and full of impressions about the recipes that the author includes. And this one really it's just packed full of history about African American culinary tradition. And it has gorgeous pictures of the recipes as well. And what I really love is that for each recipe, Toni Tipton Martin includes the original recipe that she adapted her recipe from. So this one is from 1910. It's just fascinating. This is a recipe for meatballs in barbecue sauce, and she has 2 recipes, one from 1912 and one from 1866, that she adapted her recipe from. So it's just a really fascinating, beautiful book about African American culture and the culinary culture and history. It's beautiful. And the last book I want to recommend is Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. I actually want to recommend her as an author. I really enjoyed this book and her previous title, How to Walk Away, and I'm thrilled that there is a new book by her coming out called What You Wish For. We have that on order here at the library, and I can't wait to read that one. But Things You Save in a Fire is about a young woman who is a firefighter, and she gets a job. She's actually like a star in her firehouse in Austin, Texas. She's one of the guys, kind of. But then she ends up having to move to Boston, and she walks into her new job in a Boston firehouse, and she basically gets hazed by the firemen that are already working there, whether they're intimidated by her or what, but they do give her a hard time. And she doesn't trust anybody, and it's basically how she learns to trust. She also has issues with her mother, who walked out on her when she was younger, so she moves in with her mother, and she has to learn to trust her as well. So it's a really great character-driven novel, but also light at the same time, and I enjoy this author's writing.